Hi, second grade. Today we're going to learn a new way how to subtract. Yesterday and last week we were working on double-digit addition with regrouping. Today we're going to learn about double-digit subtracting with regrouping. So on my screen right now I have a little chant, and we're going to use this to do some two-digit subtraction with regrouping. It says, we can subtract. Numbers the same, zeros the game. More on top, no need to stop. More on the floor, borrow from next door. We're going to talk about each one of those things in the next couple of pages. So if you take a look, I have the first part of my chant. I have more on top, no need to stop. This should look familiar to us because we've already done double-digit subtraction before. So if you take a look, we always start with the ones place, and they over here started with the ones place. So this is the same kind of subtraction we've been doing all year. I see two examples on the screen that we're going to do together. I see 45 minus 12. I know that I always start with my ones place, just like they did in this example over here. And in my ones place, I see more on the top. What that means is that 5 minus 2, there's more on the top. 5 is the bigger number. There's more on top than there is on the bottom. So if there's more on the top, there's no need to stop. I can just go ahead and keep on going. So I see 5 minus 2, and we already know that that's 3. And then I move on to my tens place, and there's more on the top than there is on the bottom. So there's more on the top, no need to stop. So we're going to go ahead and continue. We have 4 minus 1, which is also 3. So that means 45 minus 12 equals 33. If we take a look at my next example, I have 79 minus 26. I always start with my ones place, so I'm going to go ahead and circle my ones. And then I'm going to take a look. I see 9 minus 6. There's more on the top, so there's no need to stop. We're just going to keep on going and do the same thing we've always done. 9 minus 6 is 3. And then I'll move on to my tens place. And I see 7 minus 2. There's more on the top. No need to stop. We're going to continue just like always. 7 minus 3 is 5. So 79 minus 26 is 53. So this should look pretty familiar to us because this is the kind of subtraction we've been doing for most of the year. Let's move on to the next couple of examples because something's about to look a little bit different. The only thing I want to remind us about this page is that if there's more on top, no need to stop. More on top, no need to stop. That means we just continue as always. I'm going to go ahead and erase this and move on to the next page because now I see that we have a different rule. Now it says numbers the same, zeros the game. Interesting. Let's talk a little bit more about that. I see my example up on the screen here. It says 68 minus 26 equals 40. Well, they started with their ones place, and when they started with their ones place, the numbers are the same. 8 minus 8, the numbers are the same, zero's the game. If the numbers are the same, your answer is always going to be 0. That's a little hint that this rhyme is going to teach us. So number is the same, zero's the game. Then you can go ahead and just go to your next place, and 6 minus 2 is 4. And that had the more on top, no need to stop. You just go ahead and continue as always. Let's do two examples of this together. I see 57 minus 37. Let's start with my ones place. Now, do I see more on top, no need to stop, or do I see numbers the same, zeros the game? I see 7 minus 7. That means numbers the same, zeros the game. So if the numbers are the same, I don't even need to do 7 minus 7 because if the numbers are the same, I know it has to be 0. Now I can move on to the next place. And here I see more on top because I have 5 minus 3, and 5 is more than 3. So more on top, no need to stop. We'll just go ahead and continue. 5 minus 3 is 2. So we did this the same way we've been doing this. Number is the same, zero's the game. More on top, no need to stop. We just go ahead and continue. 57 minus 37 equals 20. Let's go on and do one more of the examples like this. I'm going to start with my ones place. I had 36 minus 16. I'm going to start with my ones place, and I notice that the numbers are the same, so 0's the game. I don't even have to do 6 minus 6 because I know it's already 0. The numbers are the same, 0's the game. Now I'll go ahead and add my tens place, and I see 3 minus 1. I see more on top, right? There's more on top. No need to stop. Let's continue. 3 minus 1 is 2. So 36 minus 16 is also 20. Now I'm going to erase this example. And on this page, the only thing we need to remember is number is the same, 0's the game. So on the last screen, we saw more on top, no need to stop. We've seen number is the same, 0's the game. Now we're going to see something that looks a little bit different. It says more on the floor, borrow from next door. This looks a little bit different. We've never done anything like this before, so I'm going to show you how they did this. Let's look at my example here. I see 42 minus 17. When I start with my ones place, I'm running into a problem because my ones place says 2 minus 7. Can I do 2 minus 7? Hold up 2 fingers. Can you take away 7 from those 2 fingers that you just held up? No, you can't do that because you only have 2. That's the same thing as me saying 1, 2. Well, let's take away 7. 1, 2, oh, I'm stuck. There's no 7. So here's how we're going to do 2 minus 7. 2 minus 7, there's more on the floor. Here's my problem. The reason I can't do 2 minus 7 is because there's more on the floor. So if there's more on the floor, we're just going to go next door and borrow 10 more. So we're going to go next door over here to my 4, and my 4 is going to let me borrow some. So my 4 is going to let me borrow, which means that the 4 is going to give a 1 to my 2. So 4 is going to say, all right, 2, you can borrow 1. I'll give you 1. And then my 2 is going to become a 12. So my 2 becomes a 12 because my 4 said, sure, you can borrow 1. So my 2 became a 12. But if my 4 gave 1 away, it becomes a 3 because it just gave 1 away to my 12. So now I can do 12 minus 7 here. Now I can do 12 minus 7. 12 minus 7 is 5. And after I borrowed, now I can do 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. So this is a little bit tricky. It's kind of new. All we have to remember is if there's more on the floor, we borrow from next door. Just like they did here. See, they had 3 minus 6, but you can't do 3 minus 6. So they went next door and they borrowed, right? So when they borrowed, my 3 became 13. You just put it right in the front. You put that 1 right in the front because you're borrowing 1 from the 5. But if the 5 is giving 1 away, it becomes a 4. So then you do 13 minus 6, which is 7, and then you do 4 minus 1, which is 3. Let's do a couple more examples like this because I know that this is new, so let's do a couple more examples together. Here we have 73 minus 28. I'm going to go ahead and circle my ones just like always. And when I look at my ones, I see a problem. I see 3 minus 8. There's more on the floor. If there's more on the floor, that means I'm going to go next door. So I'm going to have to go next door. I'm going to cross these numbers out because they're going to change in a little bit. I'm going to go next door and I'm going to say, hey, can I borrow 1? Sure. He's going to borrow 1 and he's going to become 13. And since he borrowed 1, that means my 7 lost 1 and it becomes a 6 because my 7 just lost 1, so it became a 6. Now we have 13 minus 8, and now we can do 13 minus 8 because now we have more on the top again. And if there's more on the top, there's no need to stop. So we can go ahead and do 13 minus 8. 13 minus 8 is 5. And then we can go ahead and do my tens place. 6 minus 2 is 4. That means 73 minus 28 is 45. We're going to do 2 more of these. Remember, more on the floor, borrow from next door. So here we have 75 minus 39. Let's start with my ones place. I have 5 minus 9. Can I do 5 minus 9? There's more on the floor. I can't do that. I have to go next door because I have 5 and I have 9. 9 is more than 5, so if I have more on the floor, I go next door. So let me go ahead and go next door, and my 5 is going to borrow 1 from my 7. So my 7 is going to be like, all right, 5, you can borrow 1. Here you go. Here's 1. So now my 5 becomes 15, and my 7 gave 1 away, so it becomes a 6. So now I have 15 minus 9. Now we're good to go because now there's more on the top. Because now I have 15 minus 9. So now that there's more on the top, there's no need to stop. We can go ahead. 15 minus 9 is 6. Now we go to my tens place. And now we have more on top. No need to stop. 6 minus 3 is 3. So 75 minus 39 was 36. We're going to do 1 more, and then you're going to go off on your own and do a couple on your own. Let's start with my ones place over here. I had 44 minus 16. Let's start with my ones place. Is there more on top or more on the floor? There's more on the floor because 6 is more than 4. There's more on the floor. We're going to go next door. So let's cross these guys out. My 4 is going to tell my 4, hey, can I borrow 1? My 4 is going to be like, sure. Here's 1. And then here's my 4. So my 4 has a 1 next to it, so it turned into 14. Now that my 4 turned into 14, now we have more on top. So now we can do 14 minus 6. But before I do that, I have to remember, if my 4 gave 1 away, it becomes a 3. Both of the numbers change because this guy got a new one in the front over here, and this guy lost one because she gave it to her. So now I have 14 minus 6. What's 14 minus 6? That's 8. And now I can move on to my tens place. Now I have 3 minus 1, which is 2. So 44 minus 16 was 28. You're going to do a bunch of practice with this week. We're going to do a couple of them together, and we're going to do a couple of them on our own, and we're going to be practicing this skill all week long. The only thing you need to remember is this subtraction chant. Remember that we can subtract. If the numbers are the same, zero's the game. If there's more on top, there's no need to stop, but if there's more on the floor, we go next door. All right?